If you're like me over the last 10 minutes, you're probably trying to wrap your head around what the fuck just happened in the Supreme Court. I mean, it probably feels like the ground itself is shifting underneath the Constitution of the United States. So I'll do my best to break this down for you. And yeah, it's going to be editorialized. Essentially, this ruling means that a federal judge cannot impose an injunction or a stay against a policy nationwide. It has to stay only within their jurisdiction. So if Trump rolls out a policy that's blatantly unconstitutional and that infringes on basic human rights and dignity, not shit that can be done across the nation. Basically, you're on your own. You're going to have to sue in your district to stop. For those of you in the back of the classroom, here's why this is very, very bad. A president who has tried to executive order away a constitutional protection and right. You know, the 14th Amendment about birthright citizenship. If you're born here on our soil or to at least one American parent, you're here to stay. You're an American. So it's very important to remember context of this ruling. This ruling is not inherently deciding if his executive ordering away birthright citizenship is legal or not. It is only addressing the issue of whether a judge can stop him from enforcing a clearly unconstitutional policy on a nationwide level. And the court decided today that no, nationwide, no, only for your jurisdiction. That is all this is answering and covering right now. Again, reminder, this is just discussing how lower courts can respond to outrageous unconstitutional policies that this administration has been trying to enforce and implement. So imagine that we're 20 years in the future and we have two babies that are going to court. You know, it's the same day, same circumstances, both were born on U.S. soil to at least one immigrant parent. The only thing that's different is because they're each in different jurisdictions. And depending on their jurisdiction and how the court finds for them, one may get to remain, one may not. They're literally going to have to play judicial roulette. And it's no secret how Trump feels about anchor babies. We've seen how he's treated mothers with children who were born here, not letting them call, a U.S. citizen father to come get the kids, not letting them call U.S. citizen relatives to come get their children. They're just like, look, you're either going to take your kid with you or we're going to throw them in foster care and good fucking luck. I mean, any mother in that situation obviously will take their children with them. That's just maternal instinct, especially after the history of these administrations losing children. And with the way this is setting up, it's ensuring with that horrible Laken-Riley Act that these people don't even get due process. They don't get a day in court. You're literally dealing in human flesh. We are trafficking people to other countries that aren't even their home countries. And remember, the Supreme Court just said, you can send these people to countries that aren't their own when you get rid of them. Like what happened to those folks from, I think they were from Venezuela, and they sent them off to fucking Sudan. But there's a bigger rabbit hole here that I think a lot on the right are not completely, and I don't mean MAGA. I'm talking about people who are on the right but are moderate, who actually have a little bit of humanity left, who don't hide behind pragmatism to justify being cruel to human beings. The quiet part that needs to be said out loud is that the Trump administration is purposely weaponizing this to cause chaos in the lower court. You thought the 3 million backlog on the border was bad? Where do you see what they're doing? See, if district courts can only file narrow rulings, that means we're going to have dozens upon dozens upon dozens of backlog cases across the nation. It wouldn't surprise me if they then go to the Supreme Court and try to narrow even what a district court can do. Because even though it's a district court, how much you want to bet they're now going to go to the next step and try to say, look, their ruling can only halt the deportation for that particular case and not across the board in your district. They're just going to multiply the caseload across courts nationally so that they're not going to be able to keep up. They're literally flooding the courts to slow down justice and wrap up, basic human rights and red tape. I mean, literally the Trump administration is counting on choking the courts with backlog. Honestly, it's like you're watching a slow motion coup of the judicial system. All right? They're literally not going to have to storm the courthouses. They're just going to choke a bunch of paperwork down their throats. And the victims in all of this won't be able to get justice until after they're out of the country and potentially don't even have any rights. Kind of like what we saw happen with CCOT.